Discover the incredible moment when a billionaire's heart was changed by a homeless boy teaching compassion. Jack Hastings, a titan of Wall Street, carved through New York City like a hot knife through butter. The bustling streets barely acknowledged him, as he was a man on a mission. At 45, he had amassed billions, coin by relentless coin, all while ignoring the warmth of human connection. In his eyes, empathy was a weakness, a distraction from profits. He brushed past families enjoying picnics, artists capturing the city's essence, and children laughing in the park. To him, they were just background noise in the symphony of his ambitious life. But on this fateful afternoon, everything changed. As Jack navigated the path of Central Park, his focus on a high-stakes meeting set to make or break him, chaos erupted ahead. A group of kids were brawling over something trivial, voices raised, fists flailing. Jack rolled his eyes, but then, a small figure stepped forward, commanding attention. It was Danny, a scrappy 10-year-old with big dreams and a heart even bigger. Clutching his hand-drawn pictures, each stroke filled with the colors of hope and resilience, Danny's voice sliced through the loud chaos. "Stop," he shouted, fierce determination lighting up his face. "We can solve this without hurting each other. Understand? Forgive. That's how we heal." Jack paused, an unfamiliar pang in his chest. He saw the kids hushed, absorbed in Danny's words, and a memory flickered an echo of laughter from a simpler time. This boy wasn't just another face of poverty. He was a beacon of strength in a city full of shadows. After the conflict dissolved, Jack felt compelled to approach Danny. They struck up a conversation that would prove catalytic. Danny spoke of family struggles, loss, and the harshness of living on the streets. Pride and vulnerability entwined in this young soul who still dared to dream. For the first time in years, Jack's heart cracked open, allowing compassion to seep in, igniting a fierce awakening. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But as Jack walked away, thoughts swirling like autumn leaves, the unexpected struck news of an economic downturn forced its way into his world. Families lost homes, shelters overflowed, and despair hung thick in the air. Jack looked around, witnessing the very community he had disregarded, crumbling before him. Determined to help, he initiated programs for the homeless, yet the change was sluggish and criticism mounted. Each failure crushed him. Then he remembered Danny, his resilience and spirit. Was it time to reconsider his approach? The community he had long overlooked now felt like a weight on his shoulders. Just as hope glimmered on the horizon, Jack faced a personal crisis shaking his very foundations. He stood beside Danny, who had morphed into not only a friend but a symbol of unimaginable strength. Facing an uncertain path, Jack felt the stirring of his heart. Could he rewrite the narrative of his life? As the park faded behind him, a world filled with possibilities lay ahead. And in that moment, a genuine connection rose to the surface, a question lingering like a delicate promise. Compassion in action. The next few weeks saw Jack immersed in the lives of those he once overlooked. He spent time at shelters, listening, learning, and trying to understand the plight of the homeless community. Each day felt heavier and lighter at the same time, the weight of his responsibility countered by the flickers of hope that ignited within him. Danny became his compass, offering wisdom beyond his years. One evening, Jack found himself sitting beside Danny on a patch of grass in Central Park. The setting sun painted the horizon with shades of orange and pink, creating a backdrop that highlighted the innocence in Danny's eyes. They shared a simple sandwich, a meal that Jack would have previously deemed unworthy of his time. Yet now it felt meaningful, a communion of sorts. "What's your dream, Danny?" Jack asked, surprisingly eager to hear the response. Danny looked thoughtful, his small fingers picking at the crust of the bread. "I want to be an artist," I want to show people that there's beauty in every corner of the city, even in the hard places. Jack nodded, a warmth blooming in his chest. I can help you with that. It was a promise he hadn't entirely mapped out yet, but something within him ignited with determination. That weekend, he organized an art fair, a vibrant celebration of creativity featuring children from the shelter. Painters, sculptors, and street performers from around the city joined in, all under the banner of Art for Change. Jack poured his energy into the event, mobilizing his contacts and resources in the business world to uplift those neglected by prosperity. The day of the fair arrived, bustling with excitement. The once quiet park now thrummed with laughter, music, and vibrant works of art lining every inch. Jack watched as Danny's eyes sparkled with joy, his artwork proudly displayed for everyone to see. Pieces depicting hardships but sprinkled with strokes of color and motifs of resilience spoke powerfully to the community surrounding them. "Look at them, Danny," Jack exclaimed, unable to contain his excitement. "Your art is bringing people together." "Yeah?" Danny grinned, his delighted laughter mingling with the sounds of the fair. "This is just the beginning. We can change how people see us." But while they celebrated, shadows lurked. Jack remained acutely aware of the murmurs of dissent from a few of his investors. They questioned his new mission, deeming it a distraction from the profits and margins that had made him the man he was. Each time the doubt crept in, he glanced at Danny, drawing strength from the boy's unwavering belief in the goodness of humanity. Just as Jack felt emboldened to press on, the unexpected happened. A large presence loomed in the crowd. An old rival from his past emerged, his scorn for Jack's newfound compassion reflected vividly on his face. "You're wasting your time, Hastings. Do you really think this will change anything?" Jack's heart raced, but he stood firm. For the first time, he wasn't just defending his position in business. He was defending a vision steeped in empathy and hope. "Everything begins with one person caring, and it spreads like wildfire," he said, feeling the weight of Danny's dreams supporting his own conviction. With the stakes raised and the tension thickening, Jack faced a pivotal moment. Could he stand up and continue to champion change, or would he let the familiar voices of doubt drown out the hope he saw shining through the eyes of a child? Jack's resolve solidified, but only time would reveal if his vision could persevere amidst the challenge. The atmosphere crackled with anticipation, and the lingering question hovered in the air: what would he sacrifice to protect the dream they had begun to build together? The true meaning of belonging. The buzz of the art fair soon faded as the reality of Jack's decision sunk in. He found himself back in his office weeks later, surrounded by the stark contrast of cold metal and glass. The clamor of street artists had been replaced by the sterile hum of fluorescent lights. Each time he returned to the familiar setting, he felt a pang of guilt, a reminder of the lives he had now committed to. His phone buzzed, breaking through the silence. It was a message from Danny's art teacher. "Jack, Danny has been offered a spot in a local art camp. This could be huge for him." Jack's heart swelled. This was a step forward not only for Danny but for their mission. He rushed to reply, his fingers flying over the screen. "Yes, let us make this happen." Days turned into a montage of meetings, emails, and calls. Each conversation was punctured by that nagging voice of doubt, a whisper that questioned whether Jack was stretching himself too thin. Yet, with each moment spent with Danny or the other kids, that voice softened. One rainy afternoon, Jack met Danny in the shelter. An air of excitement enveloped them as they unfolded plans for a mural, a collective expression of their journey. Danny beamed, sketching ideas in the margins of a notebook, his enthusiasm bursting at the seams. "If we make it big enough, everyone will see it," Danny said, eyes glistening with dreams. "We'll show them that we're worth more than the streets." Jack paused. He desperately wanted to shield Danny from disappointment while fueling his dreams. "What if not everyone loves it?" he asked, his voice careful. Danny's brow furrowed momentarily. Then he replied, "Then we'll make them see. We can't let fear stop us." At that moment, Jack realized, it wasn't just Danny's art that needed to shine. It was their story, one of resilience, of a bond that could prove every doubter wrong. They rushed to get their supplies, fueled by an urgency that echoed in the rain-soaked streets. The weeks flew by as they painted, mixing bright colors into murky realities, transforming the dull wall into a canvas of light. And amidst this growing public project, they wove in stories from the shelter. Laughter, loss, joy, and the indomitable spirit of hope. When the mural was unveiled, a crowd gathered, marveling at the explosion of colors and emotions. It encapsulated not just their struggles, but their dreams, a bridge between worlds that had long stood apart. As the audience cheered, Jack felt a warmth spread through him. There was a new confidence in his heart, a faith that they could bridge divides. He glanced at Danny and caught the moment when realization washed over the boy's face. "We really did it," Danny exclaimed, voice triumphant. But in the back of Jack's mind, he could still hear the dissenters whispering. His phone buzzed again with a new message, this time from a prominent investor questioning the financial viability of his efforts. His heart sank, just when they had reached one peak. Another challenge loomed. He took a deep breath, battling the whirlwind of emotions flooding in. Could he balance both worlds, the one that thrived on profit and the one rooted in purpose? It was time to answer a question that would undoubtedly shape both his life and Danny's dreams. With a heart full of hope yet heavy with questions, Jack stepped into the next phase. The stakes were rising, and he realized that true change might demand more than he had ever expected. What sacrifices would he need to make to truly ensure their message was heard? Days turned into weeks, and Jack felt the pressure mount. Each day at the office, behind his desk, the weight of the world pressed on his shoulders. The calls with investors became more frequent, each one pushing him further into a corner. Jack was a businessman, he understood the game. But now, he needed to play for more than just profit. He was playing for lives, including Danny's. Danny was thriving in the art camp. Jack could see it in the way the boy's eyes sparkled with passion. Every time he dropped Danny off, he witnessed the magic touch of inspiration that surrounded the other kids. But beneath Jack's pride lay an undercurrent of fear. What if this didn't last? What if the camp ended and they were back to square one? One crisp morning he met Danny after camp. They walked through the park, the air alive with the laughter of children and the faint sounds of distant music. "How was it today?" Jack asked, genuinely eager to hear about Danny's experience. "It was amazing. We painted with real canvases, and I'm going to try for the mural again," Danny said, his voice bubbling with excitement. "The teacher said I could showcase my style." He bounced on the balls of his feet, unaware of the tension simmering in Jack's mind. "That's fantastic," Jack replied, forcing a smile. "But remember, it's okay if things don't go exactly as planned too." Danny's smile dimmed for a blink, but then he countered, "No, if I want it bad enough, I can make it happen. We can make it happen." Jack felt so proud and scared of Danny's fierce determination. It reminded him of his younger self dreaming to rise above the obstacles in his way. That evening he decided to dig deeper. They headed back to the shelter, where a community meeting was taking place. People from all walks of life gathered to share their stories, their dreams, and their struggles. As they walked into the room, Jack could sense the energy shift. A community bound by resilience and hope greeted them, and he encouraged Danny to share about the mural. The boy stood nervously at first, but as he spoke, his passion ignited the room. "We're not just painting a wall. We're telling everyone that we exist, that we matter, that we can dream." Danny spoke, conviction echoing in his voice. Jack watched as the faces around him transformed, lighting up with recognition and support. As Danny finished, a wave of applause erupted. Jack felt a knot in his throat. He turned away, pretending to cough as he wiped away a tear. It struck him then, this wasn't just about art or investments. It was about a community that had long been overlooked, people fighting to tell their story, to claim their place. After the meeting, Jack approached a few of the attendees. They exchanged ideas, and Jack was surprised to find that many of them had skills he hadn't considered: graphic design, digital storytelling, even marketing. A spark of hope ignited within him. Together, they could amplify their voices. But as he left the shelter, his phone buzzed ominously with another investor's text. The numbers aren't adding up, Jack. We need results or I'm pulling out. Jack's heart raced. Did he dive deeper into this community effort, or should he focus on the financial aspect to keep the project afloat? As he stood there, conflicted and yearning for clarity, he glanced over at Danny, a boy, full of dreams, who believed that change was possible. The weight of his decisions felt all-encompassing. Jack knew he couldn't ignore the overwhelming tide of expectations both from Danny and the investor. With the clock ticking, what path would he choose? Would he follow his heart, or surrender to fear? The choice loomed before him, and its impact could change everything. The next chapter of their journey was just beginning, and Jack didn't know if he was ready for what was next. Jack couldn't shake the feeling of urgency gnawing at him. The weight of that investor's message felt heavier than ever as he watched Danny, vibrant and full of hope. The boy's spirit was infectious, a beacon of light amidst his growing darkness. Jack took a deep breath, the cool evening air filling his lungs, and made a decision. Danny, he said, kneeling down to meet the boy's excited gaze. What if we took your mural idea and turned it into something even bigger? What if we made it a community project? You could lead it, your vision, your style. Danny's eyes widened, and his usual bounce turned into a wild flurry of enthusiasm. Really? I can do that? Yes, you can. Jack felt a rush of pride wash over him. You can inspire others to contribute too. We can reach out to more people. Some of the folks from the meeting could even help us. Yes. Danny jumped up, spinning in circles, his laughter echoing through the park. The sound enveloped Jack, wrapping him in warmth. With every twist and turn, Danny's joy washed away the weight on Jack's shoulders, if only for a moment. But as the evening shadows grew longer, Jack's phone buzzed again, pulling him back to reality. The investor was relentless. Jack, what's the plan? We can't sit idle. You have to make progress. The contrast between the positivity radiating from Danny and the pressure from the investor struck Jack hard. Did he nourish this blooming community project that had sparked so much hope, or did he buckle under the relentless demand for results? Walking home, Jack felt torn, but Danny's excitement pulled him forward, igniting a flicker of determination in his heart. Let us swing by the store later, he encouraged, turning to Danny as they walked. Maybe we can grab some spray paint and start brainstorming? Danny nodded eagerly. Yes, we could do a big idea board. And, Dad, can we get some snacks too? Jack chuckled, feeling lighter. Of course, snacks are crucial for creativity. They made their way to the local art store, the chatter of the neighborhood buzzing around them. The streetlights flickered to life, illuminating their path. As they entered the shop, the smell of paint and fresh canvases enveloped them, igniting an idea in Jack. He turned to Danny. You know what? We should invite everyone from the meeting to this project kickoff. We can share the snacks, and then brainstorm together. The more voices, the better. Yeah. Danny's enthusiasm surged. I want everyone to feel like they can dream big. Jack felt the knot in his stomach loosen, the pendulum of his worry starting to swing in the other direction. This community effort could be different. It could be the spark they all needed. But as they left the store, laden with supplies, Jack's phone buzzed yet again. He hesitated before answering. Jack. It was Marissa, his partner at work. We need to talk. Investors are getting restless. They want to see results and we're running out of time. Jack felt the weight of the world crashing down once more. No matter how far he ventured into this community project, the clock was ticking. The stakes were real. Okay, Jack replied, trying to mask the strain in his voice. I'll be back soon. He hung up, his heart racing. Danny, sensing the change in his father's demeanor, looked up with worry. Are you okay, Dad? Jack forced a smile, not wanting to dim Danny's excitement. Just a bit of work stuff. But we're going to do something amazing, I promise. The words felt heavy on his tongue. He knew he was standing at a crossroads, either embrace this journey with Danny or dive back into the corporate grind. As they walked home, Jack silently weighed the options that lay before him. What if he chose the community only to fail? What if he failed Danny? The struggling artist inside him fought to rise, but doubt clawed back. As they reached the door, he paused, glancing back at the vibrant sky, each color a testament to dreams and potential. In that moment, he realized the truth. Sometimes, the greatest investments aren't measured in dollars but in hearts. He took a deep breath, ready to embrace whatever came next. But would it be enough to silence the growing storm of expectations? The importance of community. The next morning, Jack awoke with a sense of purpose he hadn't felt in ages. The sunlight streamed through the window, bathing everything in golden warmth. He could hear Danny's laughter drifting from the kitchen, full of the innocent joy that made Jack's heart swell. Today was the day they would start converting dreams into reality. "Ready for our big adventure?" Jack asked as he joined Danny for breakfast. The boy nodded, eyes shining bright as he munched on a piece of toast. "Can we start with the idea board, like you said?" Danny's enthusiasm sent a rush of energy through Jack. It felt refreshing to shift gears from stress to creation. "Yes, we'll need a big piece of cardboard and lots of markers," Jack replied, mentally gathering their supplies. He could already envision the beautiful chaos of color that would eventually frame their mural. "Let us meet at the community center around noon. We can spread the word, and they won't be able to resist the idea." As they wrapped up breakfast, Jack's phone buzzed again, and just like that, the heaviness crept back. It was Marissa. "Jack, time's running short. We need solid leads by the end of the week." "I know," he said softly, staring out the window. He took a breath and steadied himself. "But I have something important to work on today." "Is this about that mural project? You really think that LL impressed the investors?" Jack felt frustration bubble inside. "It's not just a mural, Marissa. It's about bringing people together. Just remember, the bigger picture matters. You need to focus," Marissa replied before hanging up. Jack felt his heart sink. Wasn't the bigger picture exactly what he was aiming for? Creating something that could lift up others? "Dad?" Danny's small voice broke through Jack's thoughts. "Are you okay?" Jack looked down at Danny's concerned expression and forced a smile. "Yeah, buddy. Just a few things to sort out. But let us go, all right? We have a mural to create." The community center buzzed with life as people arrived in twos and threes, drawn by the curious enticement of a community project. Jack could see familiar faces, neighbors he hadn't spoken to in years, and some he'd never met at all. "We should set up a sign-up sheet," he suggested, grabbing a marker. He felt that flicker of hope again as the first few participants eagerly began listing their names and ideas. As their ideas exploded onto the idea board, Jack was awestruck by the creativity that flowed out of both young and old alike. A child suggested bright fish swimming among flowers, and an elderly woman pitched integrating local history into the design. "See, Dad?" Danny exclaimed, his eyes twinkling. Everyone does want to dream big, but in the back of Jack's mind, the investor's relentless pressure loomed like a thundercloud. Could he afford to nurture this spark when the fire from the people he depended upon kept getting snuffed out? At that moment, he spotted a man sitting quietly at the back. He looked out of place, a tattered jacket and an uncertain smile gracing his face. Jack walked over, intrigued. "Hey there, I'm Jack," he said gently. "Tom," the man replied, his voice a hesitant whisper. "I heard about your project I used to paint. Would you let me help?" Jack's heart swelled. "Absolutely. We would love your input." In that instant, Jack understood. This project was more than just a canvas, it was a bridge. A chance to connect lives in ways he never imagined. As creativity swirled around him, he could almost feel the weight of the investors' demands shifting, replaced by something lighter, filled with hope and communal purpose. But as laughter and ideas filled the air, it became clear. The stakes were higher than ever, and the demands from Marissa and the investors echoed louder. Could this project be enough when faced with the reality of financial obligations? The moment of truth was beginning to draw nearer, and Jack felt an unsettling twist in his gut. What if their dreams were built on sand instead of solid ground? As each brushstroke began to take form, he watched Danny's face light up. The joy and innocence were palpable, but anxiety came creeping back in. Could they build something bright enough to scatter the shadows looming over their lives? Every color splashed was a deep breath of promise. Every shared laugh another thread in the fabric of community. And yet, as the mural began, he couldn't shake the thought that the real masterpiece was the balancing act of hope and pressure hanging before him. Jack stood back, surveying the progress as whispers of doubt drifted through his mind. Would he be able to hold onto this communal glow when the spotlight of expectation heated up, threatening to dim their colorful creation? Questions swirled in his head, and he knew he had to make a choice that could change everything. But with Danny's laughter echoing in the background, one truth remained steadfast and unwavering. Nothing could dim the spirit they were igniting. What would Jack choose when it came time to decide? Would he follow his heart, or would he give in to the relentless demands of expectation? As the day's vibrant colors came alive on the mural, Jack found himself swept up in a whirlwind of creativity and camaraderie. Each stroke of paint seemed to radiate hope, inviting everyone to add their dreams to the shared vision. Yet, as the mural blossomed, so too did the stakes. The thoughts of the investors loomed over Jack's mind, heavy like storm clouds threatening to burst. "Let us paint the sun over there," Danny called, pointing excitedly. The bold idea ignited a ripple of agreement among the others. Hands reached for brushes, and voices united in a chorus of laughter. Jack couldn't help but smile, the kid's spirit contagious. But with every splash of bright paint and every joyous shout, a twinge of dread knotted in Jack's stomach. What if the investors pulled the plug on their project? What if Marissa called again, her voice laced with impatience? "Dad!" Danny's voice broke through his spiral of worry. "Come help us with the sun." Jack allows himself to be pulled back to the moment. He joined the lively group, dipping his brush into the vibrant yellow and swirling it with enthusiasm against the canvas. Each stroke was like a small act of rebellion against the anxiety gnawing at him. Just then, Tom approached, brush in hand, a newfound confidence illuminating his face. "Jack, I have an idea," he said, his voice steadier than before. "What if we painted quotes around the mural? Words that inspire and unite us?" Jack's heart skipped. "That's brilliant. We can have everyone contribute their favorite quotes." People began to murmur in excited agreement, and suddenly, the colors surrounding them felt even more vibrant. As they paused to brainstorm, a young girl timidly raised her hand. "Can I write my mom's saying?" "Absolutely," Jack encouraged, moved by the little girl's eagerness. She smiled shyly, and soon everyone was bouncing ideas off one another, laughter echoing through the community center. This exchange wasn't just about paint anymore. It was about sharing snippets of life, pieces of their stories. As the words began to fill the gaps in the mural, Jack felt a stirring in his chest. They were creating something far more significant than he had initially envisioned. The mural was becoming a memory bank, a testament to their struggles, joys, and connections. But in the back of his mind, the nagging doubts returned. "What are you doing?" He heard Marissa's voice echo in his mind, reminding him of the ticking clock against their ventures. "You need leads, Jack. Don't lose sight of the goal." "Dad, look at this," Danny interrupted, thrusting a brush into Jack's hand, urging him back into the moment. "You need to sign this too." Jack chuckled and scribbled his name among others on the mural's canvas. It felt liberating, like releasing a weight he hadn't realized he was carrying. But just as joy surged, a flicker of doubt slipped back into his heart. Was this mural the big idea that would shine in the investors' eyes? Or was it just a brief moment of rebellion against an overwhelming tide? Tom appeared by his side, as if sensing Jack's turmoil. "You know, sometimes what we create together can be bigger than any investment," he whispered, a knowing look in his eyes. Jack's breath caught. "You really think so?" "Absolutely. When you weave people's dreams and passions, it resonates deeper than financial metrics ever could," Tom said, emphasizing the last words. That simple wisdom grounded Jack, giving him a different lens through which to view their project. Yet still the pressure loomed. As evening settled in, casting long shadows, Jack found himself at another crossroads. The triumph from the day's creativity clashed violently with the reality awaiting him at home. The calls from Marissa, the looming deadlines. By the time they wrapped up for the day, the mural became a kaleidoscope of emotions. Children ran around with paint-stained fingers, voices filled with excitement, while adults stood in cozy groups, exchanging dreams like currency. But Jack remained torn inside. Driving home with Danny in the back, Jack's mind raced. Would he choose to protect this burgeoning community spirit or chase the demands of the investors, thus risking what he and Danny had begun to build? As they parked in front of their home, Danny's small voice piped up, "Dad, can we finish the mural tomorrow?" Jack looked into his son's bright eyes, hope glimmering like the sun on the horizon. In that moment, he realized what he had to do. Tomorrow, he would make a stand for dreams over demands. But as the sunset melted into night, Jack's heart raced with the understanding that the choice he faced could redefine everything. What would he ultimately sacrifice in the name of hope? What would happen when Marissa called again? Would he have the courage to chase the light? The morning sun crept through Jack's window, casting soft rays across the room, stirring him from sleep. A rush of determination filled him as he remembered his resolution from the night before. Today was the day he would openly embrace the spirit of creativity, choosing dreams over dollars. After a quick breakfast, Jack and Danny stepped out into the crisp morning air. Danny bounced ahead, excitement palpable as he chatted about the next steps for the mural. Jack felt lighter with each step, the weight of uncertainty easing just a bit. They arrived at the community center, greeted by the colorful chaos left from the previous day. "Look at all the colors. It's like a rainbow exploded," Danny shouted, his eyes sparkling. "Yeah, it really is," Jack replied, laughing. The mural felt alive already. Taking a deep breath, he realized this place held something special, something he'd been searching for. As they set up their supplies, faces from yesterday began to arrive. The buzz of conversation and laughter filled the air, each person eager to contribute to this vibrant project. People gathered around, sharing their thoughts on quotes they wanted to add. "I want to write 'Believe in yourself,'" said a woman with her 2 children. "Let us add together, we're stronger," chimed in Tom, who had arrived early. Jack stepped back, watching his community come alive with passion and purpose. He could feel the tension in his chest slowly unwind. Could this mural really mean more than any contract? "Dad," Danny said, his voice suddenly serious. "What if Marissa calls? What if she gets mad that we're not working on the project?" Jack knelt to his son's eye level. "Danny," he said, his voice steadier than he felt. "What if she doesn't understand this? What if this is what we need to do to show that business can be about people, too?" Danny looked uncertain but nodded slightly. "So we don't answer the phone?" Jack couldn't help but chuckle. "Well, we might have to talk to her, but we'll show her this first. These people matter." As they painted, the mural began to flourish with color and words, each brushstroke breathing life and hope into their community spirit. With every movement, Jack felt the walls he'd built around himself starting to crumble. Maybe for once, it was okay to lean into the uncertainty, to embrace the messiness of ambition mixed with art. Time flew, and in the middle of their painting frenzy, Jack's phone buzzed in his pocket. He hesitated, blinking at the screen. The familiar name lit up in furious letters. A wave of anxiety washed over him. He took a deep breath and silenced the phone. The vibrant noise of laughter and creativity around him felt like an anchor, pulling him back to what truly mattered. After a few more hours, the mural stood finished. Colors pooled together, forming exquisite shapes and heartfelt phrases. It was a standing testament to the community's hope. Jack stepped back, finally allowing himself to absorb the piece they had created. A woman beside him wiped a tear away, laughing softly. "I never thought we could create something so beautiful together. You know," Tom said, leaning in, "this could be it. This could be what turns everything around, shows the investors what real value is." Jack looked at Tom, realization dawning on him. It wasn't just about the investors. It wasn't even just about the mural. It was about this connection, building a future based on shared dreams. He felt something shift inside, and it was exciting. Yet, a familiar nagging voice whispered in the back of his mind. What if the investors didn't see it? As they gathered around, taking pictures. Danny squeezed Jack's hand. We did good, right? Jack smiled down at his son, the pride swelling in his chest. We did more than good, buddy. We created something special. But just like that, the moment of calm shattered. The phone buzzed again, and this time Jack's gut twisted. Should he answer? His heart raced as he felt the weight of the choice pull him back into a dark cloud of uncertainty. What awaited him on the other side of that call? Would he gain the courage to stand by the mural, or would he let the demands of the world pull him away? With the tension hanging in the air, he hesitated, heart pounding, one finger hovering over the screen. Jack's breath caught in his throat as the phone continued to buzz insistently. He could feel the warmth of the mural behind him, the joy of the community clinging to his heart like a comforting embrace. Yet the electronic noise threatened to drown it out, pulling him back into the reality he had been trying so desperately to avoid. Maybe she just wants to check on the project, he thought. But deep down, he knew it was more than that. Marissa was worried not just about the job, but about him. They had spent so long building something together. Was he really ready to jeopardize it all for something so uncertain? Dad? Danny's small voice broke through his thoughts. What if she's calling to tell us we did a good job? Jack turned his gaze back to his son, who was still beaming, his innocence a stark contrast to Jack's turmoil. You know, sometimes just being right here is the best thing we can do, he replied, letting that moment anchor him once again. Okay, Danny said, looking at the mural with admiration. Let us just have one more picture before you answer. Jack nodded, forcing a smile as he realized he couldn't let this moment slip away. He took a few steps back, positioning himself beside Danny, just as the crowd erupted in cheers for the final photo. Laughter and shouts of joy swirled around them, the energy palpable. That's what mattered, he reminded himself. The community, the people sharing this dream. He could worry about everything else later. As the group fumbled with phones, capturing the moment, Jack felt a surge of hope. Maybe this project would show Marissa what he truly believed in. Maybe, just maybe, it could change everything. But when the hands moved away from the camera and the cheers faded, the buzzing phone became a weighty reminder of what lay outside this sanctuary. He inhaled deeply and finally pulled the phone from his pocket. With shaking hands, he pressed answer. The connection rang with static for a moment before Marissa's voice cut through, sharp and urgent. Jack, where are you? We need to talk. Everyone's looking to you. Jack's heart thudded in response. I'm right in the middle of something, he said, trying to find the right words while keeping his view fixed on the jubilant mural. We just finished the mural, and it's amazing. I think you would love it. Marissa's frustration was palpable through the phone. But Jack, the investors are counting on you. You can't just run off like this. You need to be at the meeting. He glanced back at Danny, his son's face radiating pride, and the mural capturing everything he had hoped for. I know, but I need you to understand this is about more than just a project for me. This is my real life. This is where I belong. Silence hung in the air on the other end, and Jack wondered if Marissa was processing his words or simply preparing a rebuttal. But as she finally spoke, her tone softened. You have to choose, Jack. Will it be the community or your career? You can't have both. Her words pierced through him like ice, and he felt time freeze for a moment. Everyone's eyes were on him, waiting, hopeful. Uncertainty blended with fear, and Jack's mind raced. Which path would he walk? As doubt clawed at him, he felt the tug of his heart, pulling him back to the mural, back to the people who believed in something greater. Could he embrace the unknown, chase after what felt right, regardless of the consequences? With the call still alive in his ear, Jack felt the world narrowing down to this single, crucial moment. I'm sorry, Marissa. I need some time, he said, his voice firm and resolute, silencing the echoing uncertainties that had chased him for so long. Just as he hung up, a bolt of realization hit him. Could this be the pivotal point for both him and his family? Moments later, as he looked at the vibrant art, the creation rooted firmly in community, he knew this was just the beginning. But what if the choice proved more difficult than he ever anticipated? Would the path he chose lead to fulfillment or regret? The answers lay ahead, waiting just out of reach. As days turned into weeks, the mural became a symbol of transformation. Crowds gathered, eyes wide with wonder as stories began to spill forth from each vibrant color and heartfelt quote woven into the design. Jack felt a newfound energy coursing through him each time he stepped back to admire their creation, a kaleidoscope of dreams spilling out into the world. Danny stood beside him, beaming with pride. "Look at all the people, Dad. They're smiling because of us." Jack's heart swelled. "We couldn't have done it without everyone." But deep down, he knew that this moment wasn't about him. It was about the community that had come together, redefining what it meant to share space, burdens, and joy. Yet, even with the vibrant happiness surrounding him, the specter of doubt occasionally crept in. Marissa's words continued to echo in his mind, but they felt lighter now, like a distant storm cloud making room for clearer skies. He'd chosen to invest in the community, to foster love instead of profit. Day by day, he realized the true power of connection and compassion. The local news caught wind of the mural's unveiling, ultimately inviting Jack and Danny to speak about the project. Standing before the camera, Jack looked out into the crowd filled with families, friends, and those who had participated in creating their masterpiece. "What we've built here is not just a mural, but a bridge," he said passionately. "Art has a way of telling stories, the stories of our struggles and hopes intertwined. This is our gift, a reminder that we matter as individuals and as a community." The applause that followed was thunderous, an affirmation of all their hard work intertwined with the warmth of hope. As he glanced at Danny, Jack saw awe written all over the boy's face. In that moment, he realized this was never just about making a change. It was about nurturing dreams and resilience. Months went by, and Danny continued to thrive in the art camp. Each day, Jack witnessed transformations not just in his son, but in the lives of others who had rallied around their cause. The mural inspired a movement. Local artists began collaborating, businesses provided supplies, and volunteers sought ways to support others in their community. Then came the unexpected. One afternoon, Jack received a text from Marissa. "Big investor meeting today. Can we count on you?" The question hung heavy, like a weight he could feel pressing against his chest. He hadn't spoken with her since their last call, hadn't even considered returning to that world. Yet here it was, pulling at him like a siren's song. Scanning the street, bright with color and chatter, Jack quickly realized his choice was clearer now than it had ever been. He was already where he needed to be. "No, I can't be there," he replied, a sense of resolution solidifying within him. "I'm building something that matters." And with that, the floodgates opened. Jack felt light but powerful, his heart echoing freedom with every pulse. With a smile, he turned back to the mural, transforming not just the wall but their little part of the city, his family's legacy. Later that week, as Jack and Danny were painting vibrant accents on the mural, a reporter approached them. "I heard about the impact this project is having in the community," she remarked. "Would you consider hosting a series of workshops?" "Absolutely," Danny exclaimed, his face lighting up with excitement. Jack beamed at his son, feeling the warmth of pride choke back any lingering doubts. "We want to help others share their stories, just like we did." In the days that followed, workshops flourished, drawing in children and adults alike, their laughter echoing throughout the community center. People found a voice, expressing their lives through art, just as Danny envisioned. They were writing their stories, leaving trails of resilience splashed behind as they rallied together to create an unbreakable bond deep in Jack, Danny, and their community. They began to recognize that hope isn't simply given. It is created, nurtured, and shared. The world around them shifted, revealing path after path, brightened by the compassion they sowed together. And on the day the mural was dedicated, the air hummed with excitement. Jack stood proudly, arms around Danny and the other kids, and welcomed each person who had a hand in this dream. They shared stories, laughs, and tears, joy unfolding like petals in the sun. "Together, we can keep building bridges," Jack declared as the celebration buzzed around them. "Every stroke of paint is a piece of us, and every connection opens doors we never knew existed." They cheered, hands raised, energy flowing through the crowd, reaching heights once deemed impossible. Jack realized in that pulse of unity. They were not just painting a mural. They were painting a future. His eyes glistened with inspiration. Jack held onto the belief that he had indeed rewritten the narrative of his life. True change was driven by compassion, fueled by community, and illuminated by dreams destined to soar. In that moment, he felt invincible. Together, they had transformed lives and wrapped themselves in the fabric of belonging. Jack swore he would never leave this place again. The feeling of home wrapped around him tighter than ever before. And as the sun set, radiating a warm glow, he knew they were more than just artists. They were a family, one vibrant canvas at a time. Now, it's your turn to join this journey of transformation. You need to subscribe now to not miss any of our inspiring stories. Leave a like to feed the algorithm and help us reach more hearts. Comment your thoughts and feelings about this powerful ending, and share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second. Join the movement and let us spread hope together.